And we are back, and we just finished 1941's The Man Who Came to Dinner. It's not rated according to IMDb, but it clocks in at 1 hour and 52 minutes. This is from director William Keighley, with writing credits to Julius J. Epstein for the screenplay, Philip G. Epstein for the screenplay, and stage play credit to George S. Kaufman, and a stage play credit to Moss Hart. There's just some interesting names.
Moss.
From the 40s. This is the story of what is he, like a theater critic or something?
Yeah, he's sort of like a critic who does
Lectures
a weekly radio program.
He's a celebrity of the time, I guess, because everybody was just...
Everybody wants to be on the good side of his wit, basically.
Yes, because Sheridan Whiteside is just wow.
You don't want to be on his bad side because he will eviscerate you with words. He's like an Oscar Wilde type character.
Yes, but meaner.
Oh,
but
yeah,
meaner.
Just
My
vicious.
God.
Yeah.
So this is part of our December viewing. This is available, it says on IMDb, on Max. But if you have the TCM app, we strongly encourage you to watch it there, because you get the little before and after bumper with the TCM host that gives you a little bit more background on the story. Mm-hmm. This is the story of, I guess, Renaissance man Sheridan Whiteside, played by Monty Woolley, who was also in the stage play of The Man Who Came to Dinner. A just mean old guy.
He thinks he's better than you. His wit is just razor sharp. He will tear you apart.
Yeah.
He's not afraid to, seriously, he's just not afraid to just take over an area. Like when he enters the room, he is the king of the room.
Yes.
Everybody services him, and that's how it works.
And that's how it works. So I guess the Stanleys are like these... They're
a kind of a well-to-do family in this small town. And I guess the wife's group or whatever paid the commission. Apparently this is back in 1940s. Yeah. He's getting $1,500 to do speaking engagements in various towns. He is not thrilled about being in this town. In fact, he is quite upset, but hey, money is money.
And very vocal about it, but yes, money is money.
Yeah. And, part of the commission is that he has to have dinner with the Stanleys at their house. And as he's going up the stairs to the Stanley's house, they didn't clear the ice. He slips on the ice. He has a big tumble, and apparently he hurt his hip. And the doctor says, he's not going to be able to walk.
And he can't be moved.
So he has to stay at these people's house.
And he soon commandeers.
And he commandeers everything. He basically bans the Stanleys to their upstairs bedroom.
They can't even use their phone.
They can't even use their phone. They can't use the front door. They're like, well, how are we supposed to get in? He's like, I'm sure you have a back entrance, don't you? And he's like, well, yes, for the servants. And he's like, then that's what you shall use. And everything, people are sending, because he's so world famous, people from all over the world are sending him gifts. Bizarre stuff. Gifts like an octopus, a crate full of penguins, a sarcophagus, a baby seal. All of this stuff is coming. People are coming in and out to visit him.
It's just mayhem.
It's absolute mayhem. And he's mean, but he's mean in a way that you watching it will enjoy because it's just so ridiculous. The things that these people say, it's just hilarious. The wit on display. It really works. And it's funny, we were just talking about it, that this film came out in 1941.
And yet
it's still funny.
Good.
It's this sort of like biting, insulting humor is fantastic. It still works to this day. Fantastic. I mean, they do make some sort of little references to things of the time. But for the most part, nothing is dated.
Yeah.
And Monty Woolley is he's got the voice and the sort of the mannerisms.
The presence.
He's just
an amazing, oh my gosh.
And I've never heard of Monty Woolley before this film.
I feel like I've seen him and stuff, but I don't think
I've heard that voice.
Yeah.
I've heard that voice
but
before.
I don't think he's been big like an Orson Welles or a Barrymore or any of those kind of actors. But
who were both considered for this for
yes,
the role
that we
of.
found out from Alicia at the end of the host intro. Yeah, I'm that was like one of my big takeaways from this viewing. So this is considered a Christmas film, I guess, because it takes place
during the holiday season.
The holiday season.
It's all in December.
But I think this is a movie that you can enjoy any time of the year. It is just laugh out loud funny. I mean, the scene with the nurse. I was like, God damn it.
He just changed her whole worldview where she went from wanting to help humanity to destroy it.
End it. Yes. Oh my God, that was so funny. I mean, there's just so many like gems like that. It's so funny. Like we talk about old movies and like this razor sharp wit and like this machine gun writing of dialogue. You see it in movies like Double Indemnity and other things that I can't think of right now. But this, I am so pleased that we saw this. I am so pleased that we saw this. I mean, I was having kind of doubts about it, but I tried not to read too much about it before going in. I'd heard about it, and TCM just played it, so now it's on their app, because I think they shuffle stuff that they've recently played in case you missed it onto their app. This is on the app until January 2nd. Do yourself a favor. Run. Do not walk, and check out The Man Who Came to Dinner. It is absolutely hilarious. Hilarious. In 2023, I'm telling you that this 1941 gem is worth your time.
Yeah.
Amazing. I'm like dumbfounded at how good it was. I mean, I think one of my big things, like right after it finished, I turned to you and I was like, how is that even possible that a film from 1941 is still so laugh out loud funny?
Yeah. Like a comedy. Usually things are just, the humor in those things is it's either slapstick or it's not very biting.
Right.
This was amazing. This was like made in a more like written for a more recent time, I guess. It was it's strange.
Yeah. It was really good. And so I mean, I don't want to give too much about it away, but it's sort of like
it's a 60-year-old movie. Actually more than that. It's 80-year-old movie.
Yeah. It's an 80-year-old. I don't want to give too much away in saying too much about it, because I feel like this is a film that you should definitely go into and just enjoy. This is definitely, it's not going to change your life. It's not going to enlighten you. It is just going to make you laugh. And I think we can all use a little laughter, right? I think that especially in this holiday season, things are hectic, things are wild. Everybody's running around trying to pay the bills and stay on top of their Christmas shopping. Take 2 hours and just sit and enjoy this film. Seriously, that's my advice to you. Do yourself a favor and absolutely watch this film. Yeah. It's got amazing writing. Amazing writing.
Yeah, it's not like they are showing it during Christmas, because like we said, it takes place during Christmas. It's not a Christmas movie.
It's not really a Christmas
movie. Not really.
Movie.
There's no like, oh yeah, you know, the spirit of giving.
Yes.
There are character arcs, and there's a point where you're like, God damn it, Sheridan, you son of a bitch. You shouldn't have done that.
Yes, for sure.
And then he makes up for it in some sort of over-the-top way.
Yeah.
This is the first time I've ever seen Jimmy Durante in anything, and he
is a maniac.
He is psychotic. Like he would not get away in today's society.
Oh my God, this movie
walks
could not
in,
happen today.
He picks up that nurse. He's like, kiss me. He is an HR department's worst nightmare.
Yes.
Yeah, and he is manic.
Oh my God! Is manic. I turned to you and I was like, "Is this what it's like to be on like cocaine, like good drugs?" Because like, whoa, what is going on?
His nose was made for that. Yeah.
Well, the other fun thing that we learned was that this was based on certain people. So this Jimmy Durante character was Harpo Marx. So it's kind of interesting when you watch stuff. For example, like 30 Rock, right? You know that Tina Fey based those characters on people that she knew or that like
based.
were
I mean,
in
they're
her circle.
obviously exaggerated for
Of
comedy's
course,
sake,
sure,
and
but
I'm sure
still.
that's the case here. But
many truths are told in jest,
Yeah,
right? Like
yeah.
even Seinfeld, which we know is based on certain people, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like it's always funny when you watch stuff like this and then you find out, oh, well, this was based on this kind of person, or this character was based on this other person. So it's so funny because like I'm watching it and I'm like, okay, so did Harpo have a drug problem? Because the Jimmy Durante character in this, who's named Banjo for some reason. It's so funny. We've been watching a lot of old movies lately, and just the names, like who named children back in the 30s and 40s? Like
I doubt his real name was Banjo.
I know, but still, it's like here's this grown man named
Yeah, it was
after
called
like
Banjo.
some kind of instrument that's
Who's just like a walking libido. He's on the phone with a blonde on his lap, and he's all of a sudden he's like, whoa, and he just throws her off and
To go chase after
another one.
And Wooly says, I mean, Whiteside says, he's like, if I know him, it's because a blonde walked by, so that's why
I think my phone call was interrupted by a blonde.
Yes.
If I know him well.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm sure all of those things came from like real life incidences and stuff. So it's kind of funny to see it. But again, this isn't really a holiday film, but it does take place over the holidays. We're going to pair this with Christmas with the Cranks, and I'm kind of sad that we didn't watch this with the kids because I think the kids would have enjoyed this, especially G, because I think the
G
wit
likes
and
that.
the humor in like would have really like is in her wheelhouse.
That's
'cause
sort
she's
of
got
like
that dark sense of humor,
that sort of
very
sarcasm, the dark humor, the
Yeah.
biting commentary.
Yeah. But night and day between Christmas with the Cranks and this.
I mean, all the characters. I loved all the characters
Yeah.
in this as opposed to Christmas and the
Yeah.
Cranks, which I
Nobody's
despised
wasted.
everyone. And there are a lot of people involved in this thing. There's the butler, the maid, the nurse, the doctor,
the playwright, small town reporter. We didn't even talk about dun 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 Betty Davis.
Yeah, Betty Davis is in this. Yeah, I mean, it's Betty Davis. From all the reviews, they're like, oh, she played a very sort of like low key, moderate, subdued role, which works against
his
Monty Woolley's Sheridan, because he is just chewing up the scenery, and
God,
he
constant.
needs that straight person. But not only that, she's given as good as she's getting.
Yeah,
it's just that he is just
on all cylinders,
all over the place. He's got the mustache, the beard, that voice.
Yeah.
He has a great voice.
He has a great voice.
Yeah. And then there's just like the idiot boyfriend, potential boyfriend, playwright, news reporter. Isn't it wonderful? Everything's wonderful. Wonderful. He said wonderful like 4 times during that scene. Just completely clueless that he's being like pawned off on this film star to basically ruin Betty Davis's
chance at
romance.
Yeah. So I guess we'll give the Cliff Noted version. So Maggie Cutler, played by the singular Betty Davis, is Sheridan Whiteside, played by Monty Woolley's assistant, and they've come to this small town, like we were saying before. He's going to have dinner with his family. An accident happens, and so he's forced to stay in this little podunk town, and he soon just machinates this whole craziness around him. And it's so funny because it's constantly like deliveries of, like you were saying, exotic animals, and just and I mean, like at the end he's got his own tree with all his own presents underneath.
And the other family has to put their tree in their bedroom. In
their own home. They can't even like spread out or anything.
He's just, I mean, he completely takes over. He's just like, oh, thank you. I'm suing you for $150,000. Which back in like 1940 was like millions.
I'm sure.
I mean, you saw like in the beginning when he's like, "Do you have $1?"
Oh my God!
And he gave it to the
He's like,
to
I
the
hope
guy.
It's not counterfeit.
Yeah, he gave it to the guy, and apparently $1 back then was ridiculous. They're buying like sweet. What is it? Hot sweets for 5 cents. It's basically just a sweet potato.
In tin foil or something? I don't even remember.
Different time, seriously.
Although, if somebody walked around with like baked potatoes, like I'd totally buy that.
Yeah, but it wouldn't cost you a nickel.
No. would be like $4 each.
You go to a fair now, it's like, how much for that
Corn on
that
the cob?
corn on the cob? $15.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. It's so crazy.
You want cheese on it? $20.
It's not even real cheese. It's like
Yeah.
cheese whiz.
It's like,
My God. So then she meets Bert. Maggie meets Bert, played by what's his name?
a guy who looked just like the professor from Gilligan's
From
Island.
Gilligan's Island, but is not.
But is
Richard
not.
Travis. And they soon form a bond, and Maggie falls in love with Bert because that's what she did in the 40s.
Yeah,
you went out on one date.
yeah,
and you
and then
knew
you're
that
just,
you were going to
and then you're just, I'm
going to
marry this guy. That's like, wow, that is
Yes.
that is quick.
And-
Ice skating really
Yes.
got the engine growing.
Sure. And Whiteside, much to his dismay, is not pleased about this news.
No,
So
'cause
he
he wants-
engineers this whole trap where he calls in this other starlet played by Ann Sharon and Lorraine Sheldon, who comes into town. And he acts like he's being all altruistic, like, oh, yes, he's written this great play and you would have such a great part. And originally he wanted this other actress. But yeah, it's fabulous from top to bottom. Like, you can't do better than this. Wow. This was way better than Christmas with the Cranks. I didn't hate Christmas with the Cranks, but this just
did.
completely blew it out of the water.
Yeah.
Just completely blew it out of the water. And I think the fact that Christmas is a subtle thing in the background is nice. So I think that if you don't celebrate Christmas, this isn't like it's being like bludgeoned over your head kind of thing. So I think that you
Yeah.
could enjoy it. So it's kind of nice. I felt like Christmas was sort of like an afterthought. It wasn't like a main
It's a
theme.
Christmas movie in the way that Die Hard is a Christmas movie.
Die Hard.
It
was
is
a
not.
Christmas-
It is a film that takes place during Christmas. Like how Gremlins is a Christmas. It's not a Christmas movie.
Why are you so difficult?
Because
Why
that's
are
true.
you
There's
so
a difference
difficult?
between a Christmas movie and a film that takes place during
Terrible.
Christmas.
Terrible.
They're two separate entities.
No, I'm not having this conversation with
It's
you.
true.
Absolutely, Die Hard is a Christmas movie.
No, that's like saying a movie that has a birthday in it is a birthday movie. It doesn't.
It's different.
No, what the hell is a birthday movie?
I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's a film that takes place during Christmas. So if you don't care about Christmas that much, this is the Christmas movie for you.
I guess we should get numbers. What do you think? 1 to 10. What would you give this?
I'd give this an 8. I really liked it. I would say I didn't have a problem with the directing. There were some complaints that the directing was a little flat. For something like this that's based on a play, I guess they could have done more dynamic things, but I mean, it's a film from 1940,
Yeah.
and it's based on a play, and really the thing that matters most is
The dialogue.
the dialogue
And the delivery.
and the delivery. And I thought it all worked. As far as the story goes, it's a cute story.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a little bit of a Deus Ex Machina thing at the end that sort of saves the day.
Yeah.
It's a comedy.
Yeah.
You know, if that's really going to bother you, you're something wrong with you.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
All in all, yeah, this is a solid 8. And it's kind of a surprising 8 because you don't really expect a comedy from the
40s.
40s to work
In modern times.
with a more modern sensibility.
Yeah.
I mean, you didn't really expect that kind of just biting wit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
usually-
It's mean.
usually-
parts of it are super mean.
Parts of it are mean. I mean,
Yeah.
you expect more back then, like more physical comedy as
Comedy,
far as
sure.
like being mean, kick
Yeah.
the
or
guy,
even just comedy.
or
right?
making fun of like fat people or something like that, which
Sure.
probably isn't
okay.
okay in today's day and age. So this is sort of different. This is like you've seen stuff like this in recent times, and it still works.
Yeah.
There's always like that bitchy, sardonic, sarcastic guy raises one eyebrow. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
That
looks
sort of
down on his nose at everyone else.
looks down on his nose. But this guy, he does it with such goddamn style.
Yes, he really does.
I mean, just
he really does.
wow, he is just roasting people left
Left and right.
Right.
Shots fired.
Oh my God. It's you don't want to get into a debate with him
This guy,
because
no.
he will just make you look like you're nude.
Yes.
Just humiliate you.
Yeah. Really, really good. And it's so funny because it's like he puts on like the Stanley children and the butler and Cook, was it? Had a different opinion of
They loved
Whiteside.
him.
Yeah, they loved him. They thought he was a lovely man.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, like if you knew him like Maggie. Although Maggie had a soft spot for him too.
Yeah.
And it was so sad because like when she breaks down and she's like, why did you do that? Why did you do that? Because it's like she's so hurt that he's done this to her.
Yeah.
And I think she's maybe one of the few people that he genuinely cares for because he's had her as his assistant for the last 10 years. So she understands his rhythms. She probably knows him better than himself. She makes his life easier, much like most assistants do. So to lose her is obviously a big deal, but I think in the end he realizes that Bert is who she loves and that if he wants to kind of have any kind of relationship with her, he has to let her go.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
well put. Yeah.
yeah. So he goes on a journey. I don't know how much he's learned on that journey, but because I'm sure he's not going to change.
No.
I'm sure he's still going to be the same
He's still going to be the same guy.
Sheridan Whiteside that he was from the start of the film.
But you see that he does have some kind of a heart. He does
Yes.
feel some kind of guilt
Yes.
over what he did.
Yes.
And tries to make amends.
Although he's not above doing dirty deeds because
No,
then he goes to
no.
Mr. Stanley
Yeah.
and basically blackmails him.
Yeah,
which
I
was
thought
just
seriously,
brilliant.
that Mr. Stanley's on the cusp of triumph finally, and it just gets
just snatched away.
gets snatched away by by Whiteside.
In 2 seconds.
Yeah, it's just over.
It was wild. God. Originally I was going to say 8.5, but I'm going to give this a 9. It just really, really sharp writing. Again, we've talked about this before. If you don't have good writing, you don't have a good film. This didn't rely on pyrotechnics or any kind of crazy effects. It was a straight story, pretty kind of simple, but the writing is genius in this. If you have not seen The Man Who Came to Dinner, do yourself a favor. Like I said before, run, do not walk. Go to the TCM app if you have it. If you don't, it's available on Max. I'm sure buy it or rent on Prime. There are ways to get this film. Absolutely, absolutely get on it. It is such a treat. It's such a delight. It's kind of long for 1941. It's an hour and 52 minutes, which is kind of long for a 1941 movie.
Mm-hmm.
But it didn't feel like almost 2 hours, did it? It
No,
moved
not
quick.
at all.
It
Not at
moved
all.
quick.
I mean, the pace of this film is very, very quick. And from what I was reading, they were like, it had to be because obviously the play is even longer, and they were trying to get as much of that in there as they could.
They did a great job.
And they did a good job.
Dang.
It does not drag at all.
At all. And
All
then,
the antics, everything, it's like well worth it, and the stories are woven in there. It just works.
yeah.
I enjoyed the hell out of this movie.
Yeah, I did too. I was surprised. I didn't expect to like it as much as I did, but it is just phenomenal. Just really sharp writing. And Monty Woolley is just chef's kiss.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm absolutely floored. This is definitely, again, it's a film that takes place during the holidays, but is not going to bludgeon the holidays over your head.
Yeah, it's not about finding the spirit of Christmas,
or anything like that.
Oh, I gotta get good shoes for my mom because
Or-
she's gonna
yeah,
see
whatever.
Jesus or anything like that.
What are you doing? Why would you bring that up?
What are you talking about? That's the
the
that
meaning of
song
it.
won the heart of America so much they made a goddamn movie about it, didn't they?
Did they?
I think so.
They probably did. I don't even know.
It's
Ugh.
if
I mean, if they made a movie about grandma got run over by
Yeah,
a
hell,
reindeer,
yeah,
then
there's
I'm sure they made one
another
about those
classic.
damn Christmas shoes.
Yep.
Good Lord. America. What the hell? Anyway, go see The Man Who Came to Dinner from 1941. Not rated, but I guess G? I mean, there's no cursing or profanity. There's just really sharp, mean writing in this.
Yeah, I would say it's in the G to PG area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
1 hour and 52 minutes from William Healy. And writers Julius J. Epstein, Philip G. Epstein, from a play by George S. Kaufman and Moss Hart. Again, those 40s names, right? Well, obviously these people were born before the 40s.
Moss Hart.
Yeah, that's crazy, right?
What is Moss short for?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I want to take a minute to dedicate this episode of the podcast to my very, very best friend, my husband, the father of my children, and my better half. Happy special day. I love you to pieces. You are the best thing that ever happened to me.
Thank you. You're the best thing that ever happened to me, too. All right.
And that's it from us, and we will bid you all a
Good night.
good night.